Hello everybody! In this video, I will show you how to mint and distribute your Cardano tokens directly from your web wallet. I am Oscar, author of the Ars Magna project, a website containing a set of tools for the Cardano network. And today, I'm going to show you one of my sub-projects, the Web Transaction Editor. It is still a bit hidden how to get there, but if you read the articles I have written within arsmagna.ayc, you will always find a link to it. The transaction editor is a wallet agnostic application. You can connect to any of the wallets I offer here. Beyond that, this is a client-side application. Once you load this web page, I have no control what you do it. You can create any transaction you want. You don't need to log into this website, and all the funds are always under your wallet control. I have no custody of any of your funds. All transactions are approved by your wallet. It is also Cardano network agnostic. It doesn't care whether you're on Mainnet or the testnet. That is something your wallet tells the application. For example, let's connect with the most known wallet for the moment, the Nami wallet. They were the pioneers on web wallets for Cardano. To connect to Nami, I click. Nami will ask me for some permissions to allow to the Ars Magna website. I will accept. And immediately you find that as Nami is connected, I get a message. I'm connected to the testnet. In all honesty, Nami is connected to the preview network. Cardano just rebooted their test networks in the preview and Preprod. But the CIP30 standard for web wallets does not include this change. So for the moment, it will tell you you're in a testnet. However, in the same way Nami would let me change the network and go to Mainnet, I have no money in Mainnet. If I disconnect and connect to Nami again, it tells me, well, you're in Mainnet. And it will try to load UTXOs forever because I don't have them. Thus, let's go back to where I have some test funds in the preview network. And I can click refresh UTXOs and I will find it. Notice it says you're connected to Mainnet. The reason is it is not part of the standard to tell applications you just switched network. So for your peace of mind, rather disconnect and connect again so that you have the updated message. But this also shows you at the same time that the application is agnostic of which network you are. It is a tool to help you build your transactions. Now, how does this work? It summarizes your balance. It says, well, you have 6 ADA in the network, 1 of the second token, and 13 of the MTOSIS tokens, which is tokens a whale has been throwing around in the preview network. And I have a single UTXO. To make a spending transaction, what I do is I pick that UTXO and says, well, you have selected this amount of balance, and I can select an output. If I want to send it somewhere, I would specify the Shelly address and the amount of Lovelaces and which assets I want to send. So right now, I want to do a split of my single UTXO. I will send to myself. I will send 3 ADA or 3 million Lovelaces, and let's make 6 of MTOSI tokens, 1 output, and the second output would be my change address with the rest of the uncommitted balance. I click on the bottom, I build, sign, submit. Nami tells me, well, you're paying this amount of money, which is your spending, and that equals the fee. This is to remind you that you are moving money within your wallet. The sad thing about Nami is that in the details, you only see the raw transaction. So you have to trust whoever application is offering you any service. But when you click sign and you put your password, it submits the transaction, it works, and this application clears your UTXO in use. Now, this has to be minted in a block and whatever. So I will skip for the moment. I'll disconnect. I want to continue this demo using the Eternal wallet. I click on it to connect. It allows for authorization to connect the Ars Magna domain using the CIP30 standard. I connect to the site. Takes a while to load my UTXOs and the contents of my wallet. As you see, I have a lot more stuff in here, a lot more ADA, tokens, UTXOs, but the procedure is exactly the same. To start any transaction, you pick which UTXOs you would like to spend. As you click them, you see on the selected input balance how much can you spend, and the uncommitted balance in your outputs is what would go to your change. So if I do nothing, I click build, sign, submit. This is a nice feature about Eternal. It shows you what is going on. Unlike Nami that shows you the raw transaction, in Eternal you can inspect that. What my application is doing is exactly what your wallet is going to sign. So I have 3 inputs, 1 output. This is a consolidation. And that you will be paying, of course, only the network fee. Now, let's just cancel this because I'm not done. You see at the bottom of the screen, instead of transaction submitted, it says user declined to sign. And nothing happens. So let's clear that message. Let's add an output. And let's take an address which is outside of my wallet control. I have around 80 ADA. I'm going to send myself 5 million Lovelaces, which is 5 ADA. You see then an uncommitted balance. Now I have 5 ADA less. That will go to my change. I want to include how many test assets I have. I have 1. So if I select 2, I'm on a minus. And immediately I cannot build, sign, submit. So I have to respect the accounting. And I'm going to send also the chas. I'm going to send 2 of those. My uncommitted balance, now I have 0, 0. Let's send to another output. Also, however, to the same address. Let's send, this case, 30 ADA. The asset without a name, one that is just identified by the policy. This is the one. So 1 of this. I want to send about 7 of the MTOSI. Now, as you see, this starts to get full. There's a lot of things going on. It might be useful to compress this interface, or maybe not. Tell me in the comments or write to me an email. What do you think about this interface? I personally, despite the amount of things that happen, I like it compared to condensed view because you can directly work on all the things happening. And for me, that's an advantage. Now, what does this look like? If I click build, sign, submit, the Eternal wallet opens. It tells me everything that's going on. I'm sending funds and tokens. I'm going to spend 35 ADA and spend 7 MTOC, 2 chars, 1 test, 1 unnamed token. The fee is going to cost me this much. I have 3 inputs, 3 outputs. And 2 of the outputs are 2 external addresses, not controlled by my wallet. So this looks great. But I can still cancel this and still overload the possibilities I have. This is the nice thing about Cardano. You can do many things in the same transaction. And that is awesome. I want to mint some more tokens. So I will click on this asset forge with my public key. The application asks your wallet, well, give me a key you control, and I will put that in your minting policy. If you're using Nami, because Nami is a single address wallet, it will always have the same key to use. In Eternal, because it is multi-address wallet, it will always have a new unused address every time you want to mint. So be careful on that, especially if you want to use the same key to sign on many token mintings. In a policy that is simple as just I sign for those tokens. If you add a time lock, of course, then you have to respect both the signer and the time lock. This is how most people create NFTs. They put a time lock 1 hour in the future after they submit the transaction, and then everybody inspecting the blockchain knows, okay, this policy is locked. There cannot be any more tokens. So let's do that. let's take a time lock. When you click, it gives you the slot time of the network you're in. Currently, I am in the preview network, but I cannot recognize that as I said it. So it takes the pre-production time. As you see from my calendar clock, it's the 21st of November, 10 a.m. And that's the time I see here. Now, when I activate the time lock, it takes the current time plus 1 hour in UTC time. Thus, you can guess this times being the same, that I live in a zone that is 1 hour ahead of UTC. Let's break this first. I'm in the preview network. I want to slot 500. That will be October 25th. And if I try to, add an asset, just a test, and let's mint 1. If I try to build, sign, submit, Eternal will say, well, the problem is this thing is expired. That is, even if I put my password to sign, submit this, I will have an error because the interval in which this transaction is allowed is not fulfilled. The current slot is much higher. And this is a way you can get the current slot for the preview network instead of trying to guess around. Now you see preview time 21st of November at 9:48 UTC. That's quite close to the current time. From this point on, I would suggest you, of course, give you some lag time. Let's put a 9 here. So 1,000 seconds later until 10:04. About 14 minutes into the future. And I have enough time to do this right. I want to mint 3 assets at the same time. And I'm going to call them Sunny token. And I will mint 60 of these. I will mint another token which is called the Shady token, and I will only have 30 of this. I will have a token which is called the Sky token, and this one is going to be 180 tokens. These tokens appear on my uncommitted balance, Sunny Shady Sky token, and that means I can actually send these tokens to myself or anyone else. So let's clear this up. Let's pick include assets. When you include assets, you always pick from the top of the uncommitted. I take Shady, that's the one that comes next. The unnamed token, the MTOC token, and I don't have any other tokens free. Let's clear this up. You might have to play along to find the token you want. I think this button clicking is faster than a drop down. But let me know in the comments which interface you like. And I'm going to send to this address 10 Sunny tokens, 12 Sky tokens, and 3 Shady tokens. Another thing I can do is put metadata. The metadata standard is CIP25 reserves the 721 tag in metadata, and it's usually for NFTs. This is not enforced by the blockchain. You can write anything you want. This is a convention Block Explorer use to describe tokens. Here I have fungible tokens because I have more than one and all the Sky tokens are equal to each other. But I'm going to abuse the metadata to register them. In general, fungible tokens should be registered under the Cardano token registry, which is again a convention and it's off-chain, and I want to leave everything on-chain. I get completed my assets Sunny, Shady, and Sky. They are also named the same way. You could change that, but it messes up with some explorers. In description, I will say like pyramid tokens by Rs magna.xyz. I will copy the same description for all of them, and I will actually also use the same media URL for all of them. Now, what does this mean? The token technology is just having a record of stuff in the blockchain that you can trade with. And maybe I want to say, well, these tokens are part of our shares of a bigger ecosystem, whatever. And there are 3 types of shares, the Sunny, the Shady, and the Sky shares. They're fungible, they can be traded, they belong to a collection. You could do this also as an NFT collection, right? You can say an asset, An NFT is just one of those. You give it a name, and you give it an image. You can put different image. Here I want to use the same image because I want to enforce this is my collection. But all of this are just conventions. You give meaning to them. And now you see this is a massive transaction, a lot of things, everything on display. Might feel overwhelming. And this will be impossible to add it in NAMI, where you only get the raw transaction, but Eternal is extremely helpful. So I click Build, Sign, Submit. And what do we have? Let me do this a bit bigger. Eternal is telling me I'm having a transaction that sends funds, receives tokens, has some metadata, has some scripts, is not yet signed. I have 8 minutes, 51 seconds to submit this, otherwise it becomes invalid. A lot of things are happening. I'm spending 35 ADA, 2 CHAs, 1 test token. I'm getting 50 Sunny. I'm getting 168 Sky tokens and 27 Shady tokens. Fee is 0.22 something of my native multi-sig script. I have the metadata to describe these tokens. I'm minting the tokens I had. I'm consuming 3 of my inputs. I'm spending to 3 outputs. This is what I did. This transaction looks good. And so I am going to call my password manager, get my wallet password, put it in here, sign, and that is all. The wallet takes care, transaction submitted successfully, everything clears up. My UTXOs are now less because I spent 3 of them. And I can open my wallet, Eternal Wallet, the second wallet, transactions. Now in the history, this seems to be even minted already. That's a bit fast. It's usually under the pending ones. So, because it seems to be already minted, let's copy and let's see if it's already on an Explorer. This is a pity that in Eternal you don't have at least the default Explorer. Let's take, I like the C Explorer, but this is on Mainnet. Let's scroll to the bottom of the page to get to the preview network. Let's see. All right, so minted 1 minute ago. Now it's logged. 3 inputs, 3 outputs. Minted 3 things. Shady Sky and Sunny tokens. Metadata. It's all there. The script is there. Now let's inspect the Shady token. If metadata work right, I have this preview. And this doesn't look right. Okay, there it is. It took a while to load the image, to find this image on IPFS. But now you see why the Shady token is like this part of the pyramid of the sunny side and the sky. And this is how you mint Cardano tokens using the Ars Magna transaction editor. It works with any of the supplied wallets. You use your wallet to select to which network you connect. And that means it's the same experience whether you're in Mainnet or testnet. You can practice on the testnets and then switch to Mainnet, no problem. You don't need an account. Everything runs on your computer and everything is validated by your wallet. And it's free of charge because this is a one-time job. I did it, it works, it is now for you. And aside from some maintenance things, there is no cost for me. Now you also noticed that you had to copy your IPFS media. There will be a time when you can upload media to IPFS through this client, and that incurs costs for me, so I will charge you for uploading those things. But until then, enjoy this service for free. Leave your comments below. Subscribe to this channel for other updates. Go visit the Ars Magna website. Play with this. Read about the updates of the projects I have. Engage with the projects I have. Have a good day.